Okay, we begin our second week in Mitzvah Shem learning Parshas Hashavua on a very simple, just getting the storyline down. Our goal is to learn the first two prakim. We have a little trick this week. Even though last week we didn't succeed, I prepared more the first two prakim. We only got as far as this ninth pasuk in the second parak, and this week we have a trick because Noach begins already on the pasuk test in the ninth pasuk in the sixth parak, but we begin nonetheless. Today's shir, as always, is dedicated to the memory Lila Nishmas Rachel Leah Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi Allah Shalom. We thank the Na'aleh staff. Let's begin. Eila told us Noach ish tzaddik. This is a famous story, is that the kids in Cheder. Again, you don't need a chumash for this class. These are the offspring of Noach. Noach was a righteous man, perfect in his generation. Noach walked with God. So it says these are the offspring of Noach. Noach ish tzaddik. Noach was a righteous man. So in Yiddish they teach, Eile told us Noach. So how do you say Noach in Yiddish? You say Neach. So you say Noach 4 times. Neach, 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 Neach. You translate 4 times, but that's the taich. Okay. So Noach. Now Noach was the one who re-established the human race after the flood, and he was very much like Adam in the fact, like Adam Harishon, he's the father of mankind. Therefore, although we've already listed at the very end of Parshas Bereshis Noach as the last link in the genealogy of his predecessors, now the Torah is going to begin the narrative all begin from afresh, mentioning him and his children all over again as the ancestors of mankind after the flood. Okay, Noach, he was a righteous man. So Rashi says here, a famous Rashi, Eile toldos Noach. So what happens is, these are the generations of Noach, and then it lists his good deeds. What do we see from here? That the major progeny, the major offspring of a person are the good deeds. They're Ma'asim Tovim. For this you don't need children, you need to have good deeds. That's the progeny of the righteous. So the Kli Yakar explains, one would expect after these are the descendants of Noach to list the names of his children. But it says Noach was a righteous man. His righteousness is a primary offspring. He had fine children, but that was the primary offspring. Tzaddik, righteous. He conducts himself righteously, says Rashi, in contrast to the contemporaneous society which committed violence. Perfect means whole, without fault. Now, Rashi brings there's two machloket, there's a two opinion, was he righteous only in his generation, but had he lived in the generation of Abraham, he would be considered a non-righteous individual, or would it be in any generation where he would live, he'd be deemed a righteous individual. So one has him being actually a very righteous person, one has him being objectively a wicked person. That's a machloket Rashi brings. Okay. Pasuk Yud. Vayoled Noach shlosha vanim et Shem et Cham vet Yafet. And Noach gave birth to 3 sons, Shem, Cham, and Yafet. Actually, it's not in the chronological order. I'm sorry, before I say that, Noach walked with God. He walked in the fear of God. And what does it mean walking with God? So Rashi says that Noach needed God's support to walk. Whereas Avraham was able to walk without any crutches, his righteousness let him go before God. It implies also that Noach walked with God, he was righteous only with God. In no way did he try, and this is going to be the great critique. I'm very loath to try and critique a biblical figure, but the Mefarshim take a hold of the gloves over here. When it comes to Noach, he walked with God, but he was a tzaddik in pelts. He cared about being righteous with God, but he was not concerned about the people of his generation. He didn't try and get them to repent. He was with God, he was pious seclusion, protecting his own family, but not concerned about the generation. Okay, like we said before, Shem et Cham et Yafet. Yafet was actually the oldest, but Shem is mentioned first because the Torah is telling us according to their wisdom, not according to their age. Pasuk Yud, Vatishacheta art, and the earth had become corrupt before God. And the earth had become filled with robbery, corrupt with immorality. And you can't just walk away from this pasuk. Va'aretz Hamas. And the land was filled with robbery. Hamas, robbery. So when you think of Hamas, that evil terrorist organization in Gaza, what a perfect Hamas destruction. You can't also walk away from the fact Russia, USSR, means evil. These are not coincidences, these words in English. Okay, according to the Zohar, they sinned covertly at first, but they were only corrupt before God. they persisted in their evil ways, and later, only later, did they sin openly. So therefore the verse reads, and the earth had become filled with violence. Then at that point, afterwards, the violence, the corruption, is noticeable to all. Okay, says the Orach Chaim, that Hamas is the ultimate wickedness. So we can agree with that. Comes since robbery, immorality, murder, and idolatry. Your base. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupted. For all flesh had corrupted its way upon the earth. Don't worry now, Len, we've already made a bracha on this. Kishit kol basar, for all flesh had corrupted its way upon earth. They deviated from the natural character and habit. Says Rashi, even the animals made of a species other than their own, the cat with the dog with the cow with the donkey,